Was it fun? Had a little go.
Really?
First 20 minutes was just ragging on you real hard.
Oh, let me guess who led the charge on that one.
Do you have to?
Does it start with a K and end in Kumau?
Probably. So.
Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. Let's get.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Official Unofficial podcast, where we are reviewing the episodes from season 1 of New Girl. On this side over here is Al Tribesman. Al, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. And down here is Ben. Ben, how are you doing today?
What's up? I'm great, thanks, Erica. How you doing?
Fantastic. Super excited to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, it's looking on point today. It's looking good.
Thank you. Today we are reviewing episode 12, The Landlord, which aired February 7th, 2012. This episode was directed by Peyton Reed and written by Berkeley Johnson and Josh Malmuth. The guest star in this episode, Jeff Kober, who plays Remy, the landlord, and he was seen in other shows like ER, CSI, Supernatural, and he was also in the movie Sully. We also have Jillian Vigman as Kim, which is Schmidt's boss. So this episode, like I said, the landlord, first time we get to meet the landlord of apartment 4D. As we find out early in the episode, this is someone that the guys really don't want to have run-ins with, but Jess just plays it off as it's Nick seeing the worst in everybody. So she goes down to pay him a visit in the basement, where we find him sharpening a handle of a mop, which is kind of creepy. But she tells him that, they really need some stuff fixed. He finds out that there's 4 people living there. Not very pleased because there's only supposed to be 3 people living there. Jess plays it off as she counts herself twice because she has a big personality, and she runs back up to the apartment. He kind of follows her there, and the guys all rush to make it look like only 3 people live there. And Schmidt is just visiting from out of town, Hollywood and stuff. It's probably one of the funnier parts of the episode. It's fantastic. It's hilarious.
It seems like there's a protocol that they follow every time they go through this. Like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yes, Ginny is who the character Schmidt is playing in this role. Whenever Remy comes to visit, a bit of trivia: Remy greets Nick and Winston as Coach and Brad in this part, which is hilarious. Brad is actually the character that Damon Wayans Jr. plays in the show Happy Endings, which is where he goes when he leaves when he leaves New Girl after the first episode. So thought that was pretty funny.
Does he come back? We'll never know. No.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and find out and see.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he says it's fun that 4 people live there after he sees everything, though he does tell them that they need to paint over the wall that's in Schmidt's old closet. We'll get to that in one of our future segments here, but Jess kind of makes friends with him. He listens to her and not Nick, and she gets him to fix a few things. As the episode progresses, her and Remy develop a bit of a relationship. They have some fun. He fixes some stuff for her, and they decide to have dinner since everything is going fairly well, and he's actually opening up to Jess. Nick is very skeptical because he thinks that there's only one thing that Remy could want, and as the dinner progresses, because Nick obviously needs to be there to protect Jess, you know, Remy walks out, and after he visits the restroom, and just his boxers and a t-shirt, and thinks that they're having a three-way, which the look on Nick's face at this point is probably the best thing I think I've ever seen, and pretty much describes the whole thing.
There are so
Shock,
many
terror,
amazing Nick
and
facial expressions this episode, eh?
and they're fantastic. I just don't think you can describe everything he's feeling in that particular moment. So she's gonna go through with it because she just can't admit to Nick that she's wrong. So they all go into Jess's room. You know, Remy is trying to get them all in the mood and be open with everything, and Nick and Jess are doing some interesting dance moves together.
Can we
And
talk about the song as well? His go-to
Yeah.
song
yes,
for a threesome is "Send Me on My Way" by the Rusted Roots.
it's an interesting choice for a song. Like
God.
I mean, there's a lot of probably better choices. I don't know. Never been in that situation, so I can't say. But I'm gonna go with not Rusted Root.
No, that's a great
But
song,
yeah,
but
it's a great song.
I don't know if it sets the
Fantastic
mood.
song. Yeah, not one to exactly set the mood for anything. But they're all, as Nick says, menaging and getting ready. And Nick goes in, and him and Jess are having the great stare down and everything else, and they're gonna do this, and he goes in to grab her face to kiss her, and then finally she just says, nope, can't do this. And he high fives Remy because he's right, and I think that's probably one of the funniest moments, just because Remy's totally confused. Winston walks in and is like, what is going on? And then Remy goes, yeah, I'm not ready for a four-way, which for the most part wraps up this episode, until the very end, when Nick and Jess are walking into the elevator and he's there, and we close out the episode with him going, my door is always open. We close out with that fantastic expression on Nick's face, and that's where we end this one. So guys, I want to know what you think. That is the main storyline. We obviously do have the subplot of Schmidt with his boss, where they finally do kiss, and he gets kind of mugged in the parking lot by security, which is hilarious too. So we'll get to some of that as well. But what do you think? What do you think about this episode, Al?
I love this episode. It's fantastic. Like, even from the cold open, where that whole back and forth in the car between Nick and Jess is fantastic. I have some lines, but I'm saving them for Nick's tips.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful having that whole, like, that dynamic between Nick and Jess trying to prove each other wrong throughout the whole episode. I love it. And the storyline is also fantastic.
It really is. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. I mean, I will say the B storylines did not really care for at all, but the main storyline is just, it's so good. Just that game of chicken between Jess and Nick, just to see how far they're willing to go. It was just, it was perfect. And the look on their faces during that scene.
My goodness, they're fantastic.
It was amazing. And we got Nick, the underpants captain. So
Yes, and that is one of the lines I have written down for something later. So, but I think what you said, playing chicken, I feel like that's what ties in with the B storyline as well, is that, Schmidt and his boss are basically playing chicken the whole episode. And I feel like maybe that's why it just feels like the whole episode, everyone's playing chicken with each other. And it's just two different games of chicken, basically. And I feel like maybe later on in some other things, maybe that game kind of plays in. But again, I think those B storylines really, especially in this season, don't have a lot of immediate payoff, but maybe will later on. And that's why they don't hit it first, maybe. I
But
And
on
I
that note, I
feel like
would say this is where it starts to maybe get a little wackier.
a little bit, yeah, definitely. They
Just a
definitely
tad.
do get a bit crazier because, like you said, I mean, he sits there and he licks a folder because she wants him to file things. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but if my boss was like, "Can you file these? File them here. I want to watch you." I'm like, I'm not gonna be like, "Sure, let me file this." Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's just like,
I'm
what?
calling HR.
Yeah, no, man, sorry. Like,
That's
yeah,
creepy.
that's creepy. That's weird. But yeah, and then with him, like I said, they finally kiss in the parking garage, and security sees them kissing, and he looks like he might be doing something a little, not appropriate. And they come and, kind of rough him up a little bit. And then it whenever he goes into her office the next day to say, hey, this hasn't been just a crush, a 2 a.m. thing in the parking garage, with his resolution list, which again, I have some stuff from that on the list to talk about.
That's awesome.
It's a good, it's a good little wrap up. And then she tells him to go dial her into the Tokyo call, and he's on the table, and nothing but his drawers. And then, we see a bunch of their Tokyo clients actually getting to see him, being like, I dialed you into the Tokyo call. Huh. And yeah, that's it's good for some chuckles, but we'll maybe see some payoff from that later on in the season. So but yeah, the main storyline in this episode is so fantastic. I just, like I said, Remy is a fantastic side character in this episode. And just, seeing him at the very beginning in there sharpening that end of the thing. And she's like, oh, that picture your kids drew is fantastic. He's like, I drew that. And it's like, oh, yeah.
It's me and my ex-wife.
Yeah, it's me and my ex-wife. It's like, okay. And yeah, pretty great. So, all right. Well, that takes us straight in. Let's just go straight to the juice jar, just since we've been talking about Schmidt a bit here, because I've got some great lines from this episode. I know I normally only pick 3. I went for a couple more this time. So I have, are you sure you want me to stop at 3? When he's talking to the girl in the elevator. She's, and then when he's talking to Winston, because him and Winston are having that discussion about how not everything is about sex. When he's talking to him about the boss, he said he had a package for Schmidt. When he's talking about the guy bringing him the package in the mail, and then it all pulls up right in the little sadness below his belly button when he's talking about Nick, which I thought was hilarious. And then, of course, when they were talking about that lovely painting that Remy wants them to paint over, it's a sexually charged zero gravity tea ceremony. I'm still not quite sure what that's supposed to mean, but I thought it was hilarious. And those are going to be my douche jar lines for this week. So Ben, what do you have?
Oh, I've got a few different ones actually. So
Nice.
what have we got here? I forgot that part that you talked about earlier where Schmidt just licks the file.
So
he does it in the
funny.
most creepy way possible. We've got a lot of stuff about the sex painting we've already talked about.
Mhm.
I like the fact that during the episode he just knows exactly where Greg Kinnear is. With
Yes. Yes.
Cece talking about what did he say? Oh, he's in Rio right now. Of course he's not on his boat.
You're right. Yeah.
Now these technically were not spoken by Schmidt, but they were in Schmidt's resolutions. So I've got here, because they're just too good to leave out. We've got begin the search for your cocoon. That will one day release your butterfly.
Yes.
We've got find out where Winston gets a sparkle and steal it. And just pick the color of Crocs already and buy them.
Yes. That was fantastic.
So that's what I've got. Can I make a quick suggestion for today's show? Can we also do a special Remy section where we talk about Remy's favorite lines?
We sure can.
Okay, perfect. Just
Absolutely.
but that's pretty much all I've got.
I like it. How about you, Al? What lines do you have?
The first one I have is not really a douche jar line. It's just a relatable one. where he says, like right after he licked the files, he goes, because I probably got this one wet, so I'm gonna replace all of them. That's like that OCD like nature of just Schmidt
Yep.
being Schmitty. Yeah. And then the rest of them are all resolutions that I have written down, which you've already like. I mean, you can take that resolutions list and just put it all in the douche jar, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like very
I think
interchangeable,
that's
not
I
very
think that's what
different.
we're gonna do. I think we're just gonna put Schmidt's resolution list in the jar this week. I
Yeah.
think that is probably the best decision for this week. So
As we
Schmidt's
talked about in that other
resolutions
episode
in the
earlier, where
jar.
the one where Jess goes, Schmidt goes in to kiss Jess and had to pay that huge exorbitant amount of money into the jar. I feel like that list
Yep.
warranted that amount of money.
Yep.
It was so
It's
good.
more
Yes,
than- Yep.
exactly. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that wraps that up. So let's head right into Nick's tips then. So, Al, you know what? I want to hear what your Nick's tips are right now.
I think it was one of the very first lines in the episode where he just says, "This isn't Europe. Move."
Yes.
I don't even
That's what
understand
I've
how
got.
that works. It's just it
Yeah, I
made me
don't.
just laugh
Yeah.
out loud. Like I love it. I love everything about it. And then there's another great line where Nick says, "I guess I don't live in a world where I smile and people do what I want them to do," referring to Jess.
Yes.
Being, yeah. Also,
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like how have you lived this long on your own? Asking Jess about her being
Mhm.
oblivious to Remy's advances and so on. But a lot of great Nick lines here.
Yes. There were a lot, for sure. How about you, Ben? What were your next lines?
Yeah, had similar ones to Al, but also got "You act crazy at a man with a gun." And just got the whole
Yes.
Nick
Yes.
fixing the sink. Just kind of like we see in this, like there's kind of a method to how he fixes things around the loft, just in a very unique way. So he's obviously got the special techniques and tricks to fix these things, but just the sheer aggression when he was like trying to fix that sink, it was hilarious. We've got, let's have we look. Jess, you always see the worst in people. Nick, yeah, because people are the worst. Just his delivery of that. And then we've got, hey, Remy, let's get weird and toss the ball around. So, out of all
Yeah.
of them, I mean, personally, I probably have to go with this isn't Europe, because that just got me like from the get go. But that
Mhm.
last line's pretty.
It's so
damn good too.
random. So random.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty much everything I've got
Yeah.
on my list.
So I have, he has a gun and you're dressed like a bullseye. Um, I also have the, I guess I don't live in a world where I smile and people do what I want. And then this was my favorite though, because I feel like it's a good tip. That man wants to sleep with you. Anytime a man shows a woman how to do something from behind, it's just an excuse for him to get really close and breathe on her neck. Watch any sports movie. And it is 100% absolutely true. That is, as far as Nick's tips go, that is the truth. So
I have it on
yes.
my list, but I just
Um,
wanted to make sure that
and yeah,
you
and then
as
I
a
have,
female
because people are
say
the
it,
worst.
because I don't want to be speaking for females.
Yeah. It's, I mean, hey, I would be totally okay with it, but it is 100% true. And yeah, watch it, and it's true. Yep. Watch any sports movie. 100% true. So, but that's gonna be, sorry, I'm just saying for now, that is definitely the one that wins this week because it's the truest and it's the closest to Nick's tips. So I'm pulling rank on that one. So um that's gonna be the one that wins this week. Um and then we have Winston.
What's up, Winston?
So Winston, yeah, again, Winston didn't have a huge part in this episode, I feel like, and I can't wait until Winston has bigger roles in these episodes, just because he's seriously one of my favorite characters in this show. But he's had a couple lines. Um, but he does have a few really, really good ones in this one. Uh, he did read off a couple of the lines from Schmidt's resolution list. Like, everything is easy when you're a battleship invading the Bay of Success. And find out where Winston gets his sparkle and then steal it. You're trying to steal my sparkle? Like, I thought those were hilarious. But also, I think the funniest thing that Winston says in this episode is, maybe I just got bored painting over your interplanetary ass dojo. Um,
That's
which
my winner.
is yeah, I thought that was just hilarious, and that's gonna be my favorite "What's Up, Winston" line this week. So, Ben, how about you?
Well, I had pretty much had that, but I was going to say, while we're on the list, can we talk about the fact that Schmidt tried to steal Nick's girlfriend at one point, or was considering it?
True, he tried to take Caroline, which is hilarious. Yes, Caroline is Nick's girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
But no, I
forget.
had the same. I had the same exact line. Like I said, not a lot of lines because most of his is reading the list, but he does it in such a great way and such great delivery from him. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you, Al?
I have one that wasn't mentioned, which is when Schmidt tells him about his boss. He just says to him, "The world is not out to seduce you," and I thought that was hilarious.
That is
Actually,
the one.
not
Yeah.
something he says, but one thing can we give him a shout out for? Just that look as he walks past the bedroom with what's happening. Like that might actually be my winner if we can include a
Yes,
look.
absolutely. We can include a look. But I do. I love the maybe I just got bored painting over your interplanetary ass dojo. That line is
So good.
so ridiculous but hilarious. It's great. So great.
Do we need
So-
a cool theme song or a special segment name for Remy? What about Remy's Randy?
Randy Remy.
Ready,
Yep.
Remy.
All right.
He's Remy to go. Oh, we could call it Remy to go.
Remy to go.
They could sing Remy to go. Dun, 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 dun. Remy to go. I'm hot. I'm ready to go. On a rooftop, shout it out.
All right.
Baby, I'm ready to go.
And since Ben wanted to do this segment, we are Remy to go. And let's talk about some of our favorite Remy lines from this episode. So, Ben, why don't you start us off?
Yes, here we go. We have Jess. We've already covered that one. Sorry, the sweet picture. We've got 4 people is fine. Just paint over the sex wall. He doesn't care about the 4 people. He cares about that
Such a
weird
great
sex wall.
line. Yep.
One day we were humping. The next day we weren't humping.
So sad. So sad.
Let me get the line. I ferment things in the basement. I also make cheese. So the other lines that I have, did you both get any? I know we weren't officially doing the segment until now, but are there any lines that you sort of felt were?
I don't have any Remy lines, but I have lines that have to do with Remy. So I'm going to use those ones since it kind of does fall. I needed a place to put them. So this is perfect, actually. These are all lines that Jess said that kind of have to do with Remy, especially when we were getting into the threesome action. So I'm going to start with, "Hey, Remy, what happened to your pants?" Just the way she says it is just like, and it had to do just with how she said it and the look on Nick's face just together was just perfect. And then when she goes, "Great, let's have a threesome," and just she said it with such conviction, like no one was stopping her regardless of how little she wanted to do it, and it was perfect. And then so I have a tie for my favorite 2 lines in this episode, and it is Winston's line of, "Maybe I just got bored painting over your interplanetary ass dojo," which seriously, such a fantastic line. I really have to give it to the writers of this episode. They did such a fantastic job. Seriously, they need to win awards for this episode. But great choice, Remy. Nick will make a fantastic underpants captain.
Yes.
Beautiful.
That's what I had on it too.
Perfect line. I love it so much, and it is great. It's just like
And while
perfect.
we're on Jess lines, I love the line. I like your bucket of gasoline. Super practical.
Yes, great line. Oh my gosh. But yeah, the writers in this episode were just top notch, A plus, fantastic job with writing this episode. I can't give them enough credit. Seriously.
How many takes do you think that took them to film that threesome?
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
imagine they would have broken a lot.
I can't even imagine how much laughing went on during that scene because it was just, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could have ever kept a straight face. They did a fantastic job. The writers were amazing. The directing was amazing. They were fantastic. And I just give them all so much credit. So, Al, what about you? Do you have anything to throw into this fantastic off the wall segment?
I don't have any Remy lines, but I have a note about Remy that I made sure to
Sure.
include.
Love
I
notes.
don't I don't not see Nick turning into Remy someday.
I can see that,
That's so
especially
fair.
with their moment at the dinner table.
Yes,
You know,
that
where,
moment,
where,
beautiful.
where they hug. You know.
That was sweet. It was a very touching moment. It really was. So,
And I'll throw in a couple of Jess lines too, because that exchange in the car in the cold open again, where she says, "Oh my God, it's like The Wire." That made that got me real hard.
yeah, that was
She also
great.
says maybe no one's ever been nice to him. Maybe violence is his only tool to express himself.
Yes,
that was
very
We did get
true.
that amazing Jess flashback as well with the van.
Hmm
What's
Yep,
the candy?
that was great. Yes.
I know
And
I
come
would have
right
appreciated
after.
that line. Yeah.
Yes, and she opens and it's this just little granny sitting in the back of the van handing out candy.
Yeah.
I love that part. It is fantastic. So great.
Want some candy?
We said we weren't bringing that here. Don't do it.
Oh, sorry.
All right, let's go into our next segment. Hey girl, what you doing? So Ben, hey girl, what you doing?
What am I doing this weekend? I'm going to spend some time, hopefully, getting my stream setup properly done. So I'm actually learning all about OBS, which is terrifying.
It
So
is terrifying. Oh my
exciting but
goodness.
terrifying.
Well, hey, I'm going to be doing a bit of that tomorrow as well. So yeah, I
So probably by the
understand.
time people listen to this, we might actually be stream ready. So yeah,
Ooh,
I guess we've got
Nice.
Please Be Excited plays coming up. So keep it locked to twitch.tv/Please Be Excited for that. But
yeah.
other than that, no, it's just going to be just a nice fun weekend. But yeah, hopefully we can get that all sorted. That's my main concern is this weekend, trying to get that all sorted. So yeah,
Absolutely. That's so
that's
exciting.
what I'm
Very
doing.
excited. Everyone, please be
Woohoo!
excited.
Woo!
Ben's coming back. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. So let's roll right into who's that guest. So obviously we have two guests this episode. We have Kim and we have Remy, which we've already talked about Kim before. Remy is our new guest this week though, so let's rank our guests. Guys, you know, I think I've already kind of, you know, put where I feel with Remy out there. Al, what do you think? Where do you think Remy should belong on our list?
Well, what does our list look like? We have Julia at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
We have Gangslinger at number 2. And we have a kid with glasses. I believe that kid with the glasses.
LeBron kid.
LeBron
And then number
kid.
4 is Green Arrow's tongue.
Green Arrow's tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I don't see Remy like being above Julia or Gangslinger, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I was actually tossing up between Julia and Remy. I do enjoy him more than Genslinger just because oh, he's so good and he plays that character so well.
Does.
So for me, it was actually between the 1 and 2 spot for me personally. But what about you, Erica?
I do love Genslinger. I like Julia. I mean, she's number 1. That's fine. I'm gonna let her have number 1. Someone's gonna take it from her eventually, but we won't go there yet. I love Genslinger, and I just watched Dodgeball the other day, and man, I love Justin Long so much. He is awesome. I'm gonna put him above LeBron Kid though, because I mean, he's an awesome little kid, and he plays that part so good. But man, yeah, I think I'm gonna put Remy at number 3. I think I'm gonna put him right below Genslinger. I
Yeah.
think I would put him at number 3. Like him and Genslinger are really close, and I do love Remy, but this is the only episode he's in, and I think that's the only reason I'm gonna put him at number 3. And he, maybe if he comes back, he could squeak past Genslinger, but Genslinger was around a bit more. I think I'm
I
gonna
need to
put
remind
Remy.
you. I need to remind you that he did appoint Nick the Underpants captain.
He
Does that
did
not get
appoint.
points?
Oh, he did appoint
And
Nick
that
under. Nick
all
is
that great dialogue.
Oh, it's so good. I think I'm gonna keep him at number 3, though. He is fantastic, but I think I'll give him number 3. Number 3 for me. He's gonna knock the Braun kid down to number 4, and Green Arrow's tongue down to number 5.
I'm just saying we could tie with Genslinger, though. That's okay if we want to.
Okay. I mean, yeah. All right. We do get to make the rules. Nobody else here tells us not to. So, all right, fine. Let's tie him with Genslinger. I'll tie him with Genslinger for now. That's fine.
Yes. Have I persuaded you out too?
You
Have we got?
did.
Is it an unanimous decision?
Sure, why not?
All right. Yes. We can tie him with number 3 with Genslinger. For now. For now. Okay. All right. Awesome. So next is our All-American hero. Who is our hero this episode? Oh, I had a rough one with this one. Yeah. This was a difficult episode for me, and I kind of Nick was my All-American hero this episode. I know he was grumpy like usual, and he made a lot of funny faces, but I think I'm going to give it to Nick because he was the underpants captain. But also,
He was.
I mean, he stuck to his guns, but he was really, I mean, and I know, like, and it really goes against a lot of my feelings just because he's there and he really just sticks it to Jess in the end. But I just, he sticks with it, and even though he is just grumpy and Nick this whole episode, yeah, I'm going with Nick. I'm gonna go with Nick. Ben, what do you think?
I gotta go Remy. Hey.
You gotta go Remy?
Before we do that, can we talk about last week's injustice of Julia and Jess?
Oh, I knew you were gonna bring it up. I knew
We put it on the polls. We put it on the polls.
And Jess won a fair and square fight.
Do you know what happened? So they were Nick and Nick, and they were virtually equal. So I was like, I'm gonna put a wee call for help out there, and I'm like, please vote Julia. And the moment I sent that out, everyone voted Jess. Just to
yes, they did. Jess deserved to win that episode.
Next time I do that, I'll use some reverse psychology.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're gonna do reverse psychology. So this week
probably
you're gonna
voted like 25 times.
I love Julia. She's my number 1 in our guest list, but that episode's MVP was Jess. You can't. And what's this business with Remy being the MVP here? I'm not even going to go.
Great.
Remy is great, but I don't know about MVP.
Do you know what? Can I try and? I'm not trying to sway you.
Ben, can you explain to me what this segment is about?
Look. I know on the surface it may look like there's other better characters that are more well developed in this episode, but actually like drilling down to it, when I watched this like the second time, the third time, there's a lot more to that character that we actually find out about. He's obviously so hurt by his breakup or whatever happened with his wife. Like he's just heartbroken, and him pouring his heart out and having that conversation with Nick. Like, yes, there's some funny moments, and yes, they do that in a very fun kind of funny way, but there's a lot more to that character than just that threesome.
This is not like the most well-developed character segment. This is MVP, All-American Hero.
But Ben, do you need to talk?
He's the best character, okay?
He is a good character.
Okay, how about this? In this,
okay.
It's hard to talk about.
I'll give him best character.
Best character.
No, can we not agree that
All-American Hero now?
But without him, he is the hero, though. He's the one that helps Nick and Jess kind of see eye to eye in the end and actually realize how ridiculous that is. Like, I would say he is the hero. He is the person that is the hero of this episode.
Because my MVP is the same as yours. I picked Nick.
I was Nick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think me and Alex is the same person. Alex looking at my nose.
Again this week.
I think we should put polls up every week. I think it's fun.
he was actually helpful in this episode.
He was.
And it's very rare that Nick is helpful. So
That is true also. And he does help Remy in this episode, I think, just kind of see that, he
so he does what's best for Remy. So there, by that logic, if you like Remy and if you like what happened, character development wise to Remy, then Nick is your MVP, Ben.
I just love how much discussion goes on in this segment of the show.
We need to
It's
get
my
more
favorite
guests on
part.
the show. I need to I need someone else to help support me here.
Hey, we are going to have a guest on the show
Start
very
another
soon.
poll.
And
Start
if
another
any
poll,
and if anybody
will.
would love to be a guest on the show, please DM any one of us.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We'd love to have.
We'll try and get
people
this decision overturned, but for the moment, we'll make it Nick. But we'll see how we get on next week with the Twitter polls.
We'll
Please
see.
vote.
God.
All right, so let's see what our rating is for this show. How many Schmitties are we giving this episode? And me personally, I'm giving this one 9. I love this episode. It is one of my favorites. And honestly, this episode of the podcast, I'm also giving 9 because it has been a freaking blast. So, but this episode, I'm giving 9 Schmitties. As much as like I said, the second storyline on this episode didn't captivate me at all during this episode, I'm gonna say. And no future spoilers, but I love this episode. I love the character of Remy. I love the storyline. It's absolutely ridiculous and hilarious and everything else, but it is only something ridiculous and hilarious that's going to happen to Jess and Nick and the boys and the interplanetary ass dojo. And I'm going to see how many times I can say this during this episode because it's, again, one of my favorite lines. And yes, Nick is a great underpants captain, and this episode is my favorite kind of ridiculous, and I love it. And I'm giving it 9 Schmitties. It's going to be one of my highest rated episodes yet. So, Al, what about you?
I originally went with 8.5, but I'm joining you in the 9 because not only is that B storyline okay, but it's complementary to the main storyline, which at least adds something to it. Like it keeps it holds it together somehow. It's not too far like because you want to try to connect those towards the end or through other characters, but this does it in a different way, and I like that. It's actually different. Yeah, I love Remy. Don't get me wrong, Ben. I love
I'm shocked.
like
I can't believe. Every time I go into MVP, I'm like, it's so clear cut. It's so clear to me who the MVP is these last 2 episodes.
is on.
That's why I love you too.
I love
honestly.
it. I love it.
It's fantastic. Ben, what about you? What are you rating this episode?
I'm going to go 9.5 Schmitties out of 10 for one reason and one reason only. And that reason is the true MVP, Remy. Okay?
Yeah.
You take Remy out of this episode, it goes straight down to a 2. 2 out of 10.
I love
It's
it. I love it
fantastic.
so much.
No, it's a fantastic episode. Even though it is hilarious and it's great, we get some great build up for possibly some things to come that we absolutely won't spoil or talk about. But having seen a little bit of where the show goes in the future and coming back and watching this, there's some just some all around great moments. So I'm very excited to keep seeing where it's going. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool, guys. All right. So now one of the best segments of the show, Jake Watch. Guys, have you heard anything about Jake or watching him or anything? Has he seen anything? Jake,
who?
you know, Jake. Gosh, come on.
We need to pretend like we don't know who he is.
Jake
And then
come on.
No word on the Twitters.
The one who wears
sad.
the shirtless Spider-Man shirt that was made by one of our good friends, who I have all of her artwork in the background here. Yes, the underpants.
Is it a
captain.
Bob Ross Popco?
Oh yeah, it is. This is Bob Ross.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Bob Ross.
Guess
That's
who was
great.
in my top 3 watched Twitch channels?
Bob
Does
Ross?
it happen to be Bob Ross?
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's
shocking.
funny.
Hey, it's very therapeutic.
It is very true. It's awesome. But yeah, we still haven't heard from Jake, so don't forget to use that hashtag. Let Jake know, because we would love to have him on the show sometime. It'd
And
be awesome.
hashtag Remy was robbed. Robbed Remy.
And Ben's
Use
going to
the
be
hashtag.
using that hashtag the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
But
Looking
hey,
forward to
absolutely, yeah, me too. So, in other news, though, we have updated the Patreon, so go check that out. We've adjusted the tier levels. made some adjustments, hopefully more accessible for everyone. And so if you want to check that out, get some early access to the episodes, just some little things and all that stuff, go ahead and check that out. Tiers starting as low as $1. $1. That's super awesome. So if you guys want to support us over there, that would be fantastic. If not, hit the like button or the little bells or the subscribes and all that cool stuff. Al, where can people find us?
There you can head to the oupod.com to find all of our feeds and Patreon links and everything. All the links are right there for you.
All the links, absolutely. Also, we have a fun new show coming out. It's about sports. And if you want to talk about sports, let us know. So that will be coming very soon also. It's going to be a fun little short thing. So we're going to have one topic. You bring us one topic that you want to talk about the past week that's happened in your favorite sport, and one thing that you want to talk about that's coming up in the next week in your sport, and we're going to talk about it. And it's going to be a nice short little podcast about sports. So it's going to be super cool and fun. So look for that soon on podcast services. So Ben, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, I thought we pretty much covered it. The oupod.com, please, if you can, give us a rating on the podcast services. That really helps. And especially subscribing to our YouTube channel would be incredible, because that makes a huge difference. And then, you can see how things pop up when they come live. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Awesome.
Baby,
Well,
I'm
like
ready
they
to
said-
go.
You can find us at the OU Pod on Twitter and all the good stuff. You can find him at Please Be Excited, and him at Al Tribesman, and me at Ambelina on Twitter. So come check us out. And until next time, keep it unofficial.